Imagine a battlefield, not of swords, not of shields, but of shadows, where words twist like smoke, fears bloom like poison flowers, truths dissolve into whispers that sound like commands. This is not war, it is manipulation. The art of making you think what they want you to think. From pharaohs who silenced priests, to Caesars who staged spectacles, to modern algorithms that curate outrage. History's most effective tactic wasn't force, it was subtlety. You don't conquer a mind with chains, you conquer it with mirrors, showing it what it wants to see until it forgets how to look away. This is the story of how rulers turned thought into their greatest weapon, and how, in that turning, they revealed the soul's greatest shield, awareness. It began in the shadow of pyramids, 2500 BCE Egypt, where priests didn't just worship God, they invented them. The Nile floods, not nature. Hapi's gift, the sunrises, not physics. Ra's chariot, and you, not a farmer, not a builder, a subject of their whims. They built temples not for prayer, but for performance. Statues that spoke through hidden tubes, oracles that prophesied from scripted scrolls. Pharaohs declared, "I am God made flesh," and the people believed because they were shown mirrors, reflections of their fears, their hopes, their need for order in a chaotic world. The genius? Manipulation through familiarity. We reflect your world, so you reflect ours. And in that reflection, rebellion drowned in divine deception. Rome didn't invent manipulation. It perfected it. Bread in circuses, they called it, free food, gladiatorial games, public executions as entertainment. But beneath the spectacle, a masterclass in mind control. Gladiators weren't just fighters, they were mirrors, celebrities, idols, living proof. Surrender your freedom, and you might become a god. The Colosseum, not an arena, a classroom, where fear was theater, death was drama, and the audience, the real victims. They staged triumphs, emperors parading in chariots, captives in chains, not to celebrate victory, but to enforce it. Make the conquered watch their own defeat until they believed it was destiny. The genius? Manipulation through familiarity. We give you spectacle, so you give us silence. And in that silence, empires were born and buried. In the East, silence wasn't rebellion. It was the state. 221 BCE, Qin Shi Huang unifies China, not with armies alone, with ideology, legalism, the philosophy that turns citizens into cogs. Obey without question, conform without complaint, think only what serves the state. He burned books, buried scholars, built the Great Wall, not to keep out barbarians, but to keep in thoughts. But here's the twist. Confucius, the philosopher they tried to erase, whispered, "The superior man thinks for himself." And in secret scrolls, hidden temples, his ideas survived as subversion. China didn't fear rebellion. It feared reflection, the quiet mind that sees through mandates and remembers freedom. They told you Rome fell. They lied. Walk into any algorithm, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, where feeds are curated not for truth, but for engagement. Outrage sells. Echoes echo. Dissent is amplified, then buried. Bread and circuses became likes and algorithms. Free content to keep you hooked. Public spectacles, now viral clips. The message, we reflect your world, so you reflect ours. Modern rulers don't burn books. They bury them in feeds. Don't execute scholars. They shadow ban them. Don't demand loyalty. They engineer it through dopamine. The genius? You think you're free, scrolling, sharing, reacting. But every tap is a nod to the new Caesar, and the throne is in your pocket. But some defied, not with swords, with stillness. Socrates drank poison, but not before saying, the unexamined life is not worth living. His crime, teaching people to think without permission. Hypatia, flayed alive for daring to teach math as sacred, not sinful. Her silence in death, louder than any scream. Thoreau built a cabin in the woods, not to escape society, but to examine it. Simplify, he said, and in that simplicity, find freedom. Modern rebels, the ones who log off, sit still, gaze deeply, not because they're anti-tech, but because they know the mind is a wild animal, and cages only make it stronger. And now the quiet revolution blooms, not in streets, in stillness. CEOs mandating no email Sundays, teachers teaching mindful pauses before debates, parents stacking phones at dinner. First to grab pays the bill. Therapists prescribing silence retreats for anxiety. Neuroscience confirms 10 minutes of undirected thought rewires the brain for creativity, empathy, resilience. Psychology reveals the antidote to manipulation isn't more noise, but more silence. Philosophy whispers, in the space between thoughts lies the self. This isn't escape, it's return. The soul remembering its birthright, to be still, to be silent, to be sovereign. The greatest act of defiance? Not shouting, sitting. They built palaces to drown it out, wrote laws to banish it, lit fires to burn its keepers. But silence laughed, waited, endured, because silence isn't absence. It's presence, the presence of self, of soul, of sovereignty. So tonight, do something radical. Turn off every screen, sit in a chair, say nothing, do nothing, just be. Feel the empire panic? Good. That's their ghost, fleeing. Feel the peace descend? Better. That's your birthright, returning. You are not a subject, not a user, not a metric. You are silence, unconquered, unbroken. And in that silence, empires tremble, gods remember their place, souls awaken. Before you sleep tonight, create 1 minute of silence, no input, no output, just you. Let the questions come. What thought have I been avoiding? What feeling feels forbidden? What dream has no practical use except joy? Write it down. Whisper it aloud. Let it breathe. That whisper, that's yours, not an empire's, not an algorithm's, not a brand's. The mind didn't forget how to think. It just needs space to remember, in silence. So guard yours, defend it, worship it. Empires rise on noise. They fall in silence. And you? You are the silence, unconquered.